The Washington Commanders make a really risky move, but could be a Super Bowl move in trading for Deebo Samuel, and all it took was a fifth round pick. Come on, let's talk about it next on Washington Football Maniacs. What's up, everybody? It's your host, Brandon Scott, and today we have some huge news in the 202, aka DC. The Washington Commanders trade for Deebo Samuel from the San Francisco 49ers for a fifth round pick. So we're going to look at the pros, the cons, and what to look forward to next year as far as the wide receiver core, because could they be done adding another receiver after Deebo Samuel? Maybe not. So let's get into it, everybody. So, like I said, the Washington Commanders have acquired Deebo Samuel from the 49ers in exchange for a fifth round pick. Now, let's get into the pros. What are the obvious pros with this move? Well, Deebo Samuel is an all pro caliber wide receiver. He would slide in nicely next to Terry McLaurin. Now, the biggest thing with both of them is that they will be both on expiring contracts next year. So it would be more of a short improved, not so much Terry McLaurin because he's a long-time member of this team, but for Deebo Samuel because he's known to have a lot of injuries. And like I said, we're going to start with the pros, even though it's pretty obvious what the cons are. Pros are he could fit nicely in this offense underneath Cliff Kingsbury because he is a Swiss Army knife. He is very similar to Curtis Samuel, former Washington Commander, man, where he can act as a running back. He can get active in screens. You know, he can play on the outside. He can play on the inside. He's a guy who's going to be very, very busy in his offense, and it adds another weapon to this offense. This offense, not a bad offense at all, right? One of the best offenses in the NFL. But here's the thing. Obviously, they needed some more weapons. You know, if you look at the running back situation, Brian Robinson Jr., Austin Eckler, there's reports out there that are saying that the team's looking for, you know, a number one running back, a more explosive running back. And so they're looking to add more weapons. Yes, you have Zach Ertz, you got Ben Sinnott, but you need more weapons to take the pressure off of Terry McLaurin on the outside, man. And I don't think they're done adding. But like I said, Deebo Samuel, if you look at the pros, he could play. He could play at all pro level, man. So let's take a look at his stats, shall we? So looking at his stats now, like I said, the biggest thing when you look at the last 6 years of his career, yes, a lot of injuries. But if you look at the games played and games started, it's not so much availability because he has been available. I mean, you look at 2024, he played and started 15 games. 2023, played and started 15 games. 2022, played 13, started 12. 2021, played 16, started 15. The worst year was 2020, obviously the pandemic year. He played in 7 and started in 5. And in his rookie campaign, he played in 15 and started in 11. So it's not so much availability, it's productivity, right? It's not that he's missing games, it's that due to his injuries, he's not as productive as, with him being a all pro caliber wide receiver, you're not getting the maximum level of productivity. So that's the biggest thing to look at because the last time he actually got over 1,000 yards receiving was 2021, where he got 1,405 receiving yards and 6 touchdowns. Now his career high in touchdowns was in 2023 with 7, but if you look at the receptions, his career year was 77 receptions in 2021, and it goes down from there. 2022, 56, then it goes to 60, then to 51. So you guys kind of see what I'm saying. It's not availability because he still plays, but he's playing through injuries, and you're not getting the maximum level of productivity. So, the big question is, will he be healthy? Because he's an electrifying talent. Like I said, when you add him to this wide receiver group, like I said, they're not done adding. It still remains to see if De'Ami Brown's back, if Noah Brown's back, what role McCaffrey's going to have. But Terry McLaurin is the number one, and he should be because he's been a number one for some time now. We needed to take the pressure off of Terry McLaurin, man. And I think with Deebo Samuel, you have that capability because you've got 2 all pros on both sides of the field. I mean, on both sides, man. So like I said, he has the ability to play all over the field, on the outside, in the slot. He can be a running back. He can be a screen. I mean, the guy is a Swiss Army knife. So Cliff Kingsbury is going to do a good job utilizing him and really getting the most out of him. But let's get into the cons, and we'll start with the obvious con here, right? Before we get into that, there's one more pro. Okay, one more pro is if you look at his contract, if he's not healthy, right? If he doesn't play at the level we expect him to play, he's an expiring contract next yewe only potentially have him for 1 year. Next year he has a cap hit of $15.8 million. So if he has injury issues, if he doesn't play up to the level that we expect him to play, there's no long-term commitment here. We can move on. But if he's healthy if he becomes that featured piece of the offense, if he has an all-pro season, you know, yes, it could be a hard decision. Do they have to choose between Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuel? Maybe you find a way to keep both of them, but you would have to work out an extension. But I think we will have the leverage to do so. But like I said, the contracts, there are some negatives about the contract. But let's get into the cons. The most obvious con is what? Availability is your best ability. He's injured. And like I said, when you look at games played versus in games started, he plays, but the biggest problem is he plays to injuries. And you're not getting the high, that level of productivity that you're looking for because he's got the talent. I mean, if you look at it, but the stats just aren't what you expect from Deebo. I mean, the best year was 77 receptions. And obviously, when you look at, Brandon Ayuk and other factors in San Francisco, there's a lot of weapons on the offense. So it's going to be really hard to be a 100 reception receiver because there's so many weapons in San Francisco. But I think that he could do really good here and taking the pressure off. But he's hurt, and it's not so much. And, I'm not going to beat a dead horse here. He plays, but again, he plays through injuries. So that is the major con, is that if he stays healthy, this is a Super Bowl move. I don't think they're going to add talent. I mean, obviously, I think they still have one big move left in them in this offseason because this team in year 2 underneath Josh Harris made the NFC Championship game. There's expectations now. They know they can get to that level. Franchise quarterback, great coaching staff, a GM who is cooking like an air fryer in Adam Peters, a competent owner in Josh Harris. This team is headed towards glory. We're heading back towards Super Bowl contention, in my opinion. Now, obviously, the big obstacle is the reigning Super Bowl champions in Philadelphia. But I think if Deebo Samuel can stay healthy and have the high level of productivity and really be that Swiss Army knife and weapon in his offense, we can definitely give Philadelphia a run for the money. Now, obviously, we're still early on. This is the first major move in the NFL offseason. It's going to be the first of many moves. Right now, Philadelphia, there's reports that Philadelphia is doing their damnedest to keep Myles Garrett out of Washington, D.C. And it behooves them because you add a player of that caliber and Myles Garrett, this is a dangerous team. And I think we definitely rival the Philadelphia Eagles. So, like I said, guys, the biggest con is availability. He's hurt. And like I said, it's not so much availability because he does play through injuries, but productivity, you kind of say overrides availability as the biggest con, right? He plays, but he's through injuries, and you're not getting that maximum level of productivity. So, looking at the contract, that's the biggest thing. Also, is if he plays up to snuff, you got to extend him. He's 29, so I think that the team would have leverage. I think we could retain him if he plays at the All-Pro level, opposite Terry McLaurin, because Terry McLaurin, I think you have to feel compelled at this point to re-sign him and keep him here because of what he's provided the team. He's been a Redskin. He's been part of the Washington football team. He's been a commander. He's been here for the whole process. He's produced when called upon. Many people looked at him as a special teams player when he came to the league. He ended up being a true number one receiver. And with a high-level franchise quarterback, you saw clearly what he can do with a franchise quarterback, that is. He's dealt with so many different quarterbacks. And like I said, Deebo is going to take the pressure off of Terry. So you could see a career season from Terry McLaurin. I think that, again, is going to have both of them will have opportunities, especially when you add in McCaffrey. I think McCaffrey could be an answer at slot. But it's not to say they won't add, because I think they're still going to add a receiver or two, in my opinion, whether it's through free agency or through the draft. So those are the cons. Biggest thing is productivity, playing through injuries. And the biggest thing is also you have two receivers next year that you're probably looking to extend. So could you extend both? I think you could. Terry McLaurin, they're going to have to pay Terry because of what he's provided, what he's done to this team, for this team. He's stuck with this team through the good and the bad, and I think you reward him. We know that he's getting older, but I think that he's still young enough to where he's still going to play at an all-pro level. And the same thing with Deebo Samuel. If he stays healthy, if he can, try to stop playing through injuries and get back to 100%, I think that he could be a all-pro talent here. So, like I said, the pros, the cons, you guys get in the comment section. Let me know, do you agree or disagree? So, all right, everybody, like I said, my co-host Greg Sykes has done an immaculate job holding his channel down. I took kind of a hiatus real quick. I actually got a new job as a writer over at Sports Illustrated Inside the Wizards, and as you guys know, I also do the Locked On Wizards podcast. But I miss doing this. I miss kind of chopping up with you guys, and I miss kind of kicking it with my guy Greg, man. So I'm back in the fold, man. So like I said, it's my first video officially back with Washington Football Maniacs, man, and I'm enjoying it, man. Like I said, I'm ready to get back to work with my guy Greg Sykes, man. So definitely look forward to a lot of good content during the offseason, during the draft, from the Washington Football Maniacs. All right, everybody, we're going to call it a night. All right, hail to the Commanders and peace. You guys get in the comment section and let me know, do you agree or disagree? Have a good night.